on a daily basis?
The Honourable Minister.
Can you hear me now?
You're on. You're good.
Can you? Okay, wonderful. So thank you very much for that.
The comments. Well, we had it was a show, but anywho, we're going to see what's going on. Michelle Rempel rams down on the Liberals pretty hard on this. There's some back and forth near the end. Watch this scene. We got another one coming with Trudeau and thing. Basically, though, Trudeau didn't answer the question. This one's way better. Anyway, watch this.
On a daily basis.
The Honourable Minister.
Can you hear me now?
You're on. You're good.
Can you? Okay, wonderful. So thank you very much for that question. As I highlighted before, with regards to face shields, we are seeing Canadian companies produce them in the millions. With regards to masks, we've engaged Medicom, which will again produce millions and millions of masks for N95 and surgical masks.
How many today, Mr. Chair? How many are being produced today by Canadian
We'll let the
companies?
Minister finish, and then we'll come back to the second question. Mr. Bains.
Thank you very much. So as I was saying, for ventilators, over 30,000 ventilators built by companies like CAE, Starfish, ventilators for Canadians, and for gowns, more than 18 million gowns purchased through 7 significant contracts by Canada Goose, Calco Group, Stanfield, Mustang Survival. And for hand sanitizers, domestic capacity for hand sanitizer is now at 15 million liters per month, which is the equivalent of 6 Olympic-sized swimming pools. All produced by Canadian.
Rempel Garner.
So on Friday, the Minister of Industry was unwilling to answer a question put to him by a CBC reporter on the number of imported masks from China that were actually defective. And instead, he talked about strong domestic capacity. So I'm interested in him quantifying what exactly that means, because the Canadian Chamber of Commerce and my colleague Brad Redekop and others have stated that domestic PPE supply will be needed in order for workers to be protected and the economy to safely reopen. So how much is Canadian industry producing right now? And I noticed that the minister didn't talk about masks. And I'm just wondering what that delta is between the importation and domestic supply, and if Canadian businesses are going to have to be reliant on potentially defective masks from China to reopen their businesses.
The Honourable Minister.
Again, I would like to thank the member for her very thoughtful question. We are trying to complement our efforts by continuing to purchase at a significant level, but also mobilize domestic industry. We had a call to action. As I've indicated before, 6,000 Canadian companies have stepped up, and each and every single day, we're seeing more and more Canadian capacity built up in a range of areas, from gowns to masks to hand sanitizers to ventilators, all the essential personal protective equipment that the Canadian frontline healthcare workers need in the short term. But as the member raised the point with regards to reopening up the economy and for broader use, we want to make sure we have strong domestic capacity as well. And it's great to see these made in Canada solutions.
Sure.
The pride that's going to help many Canadians in the future.
Ms.
That wasn't a response. That wasn't a response to my question. I asked how many masks are being produced in Canada versus what the total demand is. So what's the delta in terms of numbers, in terms of what we're being required to import that might be potentially defective, both today and then projected under the terms of provincial reopening efforts?
The Honourable Minister.
So with respects to the demand, that demand is going to continue to increase. That number is going to continue to go up. And so we're leaving no stone unturned. We are completely mobilizing our strong industrial base to build up the domestic capacity. Of course, it's in the millions. So the company that I would like to highlight is Medicom, for example, in Montreal. They are building up local capacity that will provide us with
44 million masks are they?
44 million.
How many masks are they producing today on a daily basis?
Yeah, sorry, if I can just complete my thought. So like I said,
it's my time. So how many masks are they producing on a daily basis?
Actually, I just want to remind the honourable member that the questions come through the chair, and this is why we're trying to avoid it. What we're trying to avoid a back and forth. We still have about 30 seconds. I'll let the honourable minister continue.
So as I've indicated with Medicom, for example, this is a company that we've engaged. It's a Canadian company that's building up Canadian production capability. They are looking to build 40+ million masks on an annual basis for the next 10 years. And this is a significant commitment. And this is going to be complemented by other Made in Canada solutions as well.
Chair,
the honourable member for West Nova, Monsieur D'Entremont. I just want to remind the honourable members before I start. I do have the ability to mute individual members. I don't want to go there, so I'll just leave it at that. The honourable member.
Well, do you think they're going to get any of these companies going? I think we need the Conservative leadership race to ramp up. Leave your comments below and like and share.